Welcome to another week in NACS. This week in NACS is here to tell the stories of our scene, spotlighting the players, teams, and tournaments that make North American Counter-Strike special week by week. This week's headlines are going to be kind of slim. We don't have too much to cover, but also the things we have to cover are big topics. We have the major, we have the beginning of roster mania, and that is obviously going to shake things up a lot. Without further ado, let's dive in. And I would like to start here by talking a little bit about roster mania. So the biggest news is for now. The news is we're going to talk rumors. We're going to talk everything, and obviously there's going to be a lot, but the biggest thing going on for me right now is that M80 just benched Hexed, which is a little shocking to me. M80 has been on the up, and I feel like a big part of their on the up has been Hexed joining. If we look at their ranking here, I guess it does look like it's stagnant a little bit. Hexed coming in, though, it really felt like it revitalized this roster to me. He's where do they show him here? Right? I don't know. I felt like Hex was great for this team. I liked him better than Rec. I thought, not that I dislike Rec, but I just thought that with this roster, Hex brought a certain energy that was really working for the team. And he wasn't on the team for a crazy long time. We can see here on this chart that Hex was only there from July 2025 until his benching now. It sounds from Hex tweets like this came as a bit of a surprise to him. I can't say it didn't come as a surprise to me as well. I find it a little surprising. Yeah. If we take a look at Hex, his numbers have been great. 1.15 for the past 3 months is incredible, especially for a support player. Now, he's not always playing top tier competition, but the dude is great. He was just an amazing, he's doing a lot of space making, getting opening kills. He's clutching. He's very versatile. He's got a 1.16 since joining the team, and in top 20, a 0.94. It's a drop off, but still, it's not terrible, especially compared to the rest of the team in the growing place that they're in. Now, it raises a question, of course, of who is replacing Hex, and the loosely confirmed rumor mill is that JBA will be replacing Hex. Now, I can see this, JBA does look really, really good. I think he has a lot of room to grow. I think he is maybe a little bit more stronger in like an individualistic lurk kind of sense than Hext is. But we also have Swisher already. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have replaced Swisher with Jaba, but M80 does seem pretty big on keeping Swisher around. And once again, don't get me wrong, I do like Swisher quite a bit. He's a great closer. He brings experience. He's a good player. I'm just not sure that I see the vision necessarily here, and that's okay. They might have other things going. There might be more moves coming than this. We don't know exactly what the situation is. I am excited to see this. I'm glad that Jaba is going to be back in a higher tier so quickly. I think this Jaba is definitely part of the future of NA and has a lot to do in NA. So I do think this is exciting. I just don't necessarily feel 100% on the benching of Hext. But that is the rumor mill. That is what's going on here. And that is what the next stage of M80 kind of looks like for us. Other things I want to touch on is just some hypotheticals. I'm not going to go into tier 2, 3 roster moves. Those are a lot more fluid and happening pretty often. I'm not going to speculate on any of those right now, but I do want to look at our top rosters, with wildcard completely gone. We're not sure what's going to happen there. I want to touch on 100 Thieves, Reigns 100 Thieves. So we have drafted, and once again, we will be covering 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is an NA org. They pay American taxes. They're an NA org. We cover 100 Thieves. End of story. So right now, we know it's Rain. And then Rain will be IGLing, is the word on the street, right? So we've got our Opper, who is rumored right now to be Device, as Glaive has become our coach. Glaive and Device both being members of the Golden Astralis roster that won 5 majors over the course of like 3 years. One of the best rosters, if not the best roster, Counter-Strike has ever seen, the Astralis era. So Glaive was their IGL. He is officially signed on as coach. So he will be coach. Rain will be IGL. And then we have Device, who was the Opper for the Golden Astralis era. And the rumor is the other 3 will be the Gamer Legion core, which I believe is Tossin, PR, and Rez. This is an incredible core. Tossin, PR, Rez, right? It is a really good core. They're young, they're exciting. PR especially has been performing incredibly in his lurker positions. Tossin is a great support player. He can really hold it down. They have a lot of potential, and with Rain's guidance, the experience of Device and Glaive, this could be a really, really good roster, but I'm not 100%. There's a lot of unknowns. Will Rain take to IGLing easily? Will Glaive take to coaching easily? And then Device. I'm not really concerned about Device. I know he gets some flack sometimes for not being as good as he was. He's 31 years old. But the reality is, if you look at Device, right, Oppers are not the stars that they once were. A 1 point, that's his all-time rating, right? So a 1.06 rating for an Opper is less than we want, of course. But most Oppers are only 3 to 5% better than him right now. So bringing in this experience, this synergy with Glaive to a young Gamer Legion core, it could work. The only concern is the firepower for me. And we'll see how that goes. And if Rain and Glaive's stratting is strong enough, then, I mean, we might not even need Device to pop off. But Device will still have pop off games. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, I do want to just touch on G2 a little bit. No rumors yet for anything G2 related. The only reason we are tracking this team is our boy Mobs. Mobs has been underperforming, unfortunately. I'm still a big Mobs fan. His potential is huge, but he has been underperforming. So we'll see how that goes if he stays on the roster, if he makes a change. I could see a lot of different things happening with G2 and Mobs and how we view them. Passion UA, I could easily see making changes as well. Passion UA, the Ukrainian org that adopted the Complexity NA org players. So kind of a strange lineup. We have Grim, one of the best NA players in the world right now, in my opinion. And we have Nick Nick, who has been holding it down, but doesn't super wow me, nonetheless, he's a very valuable player. We'll see if Passion UA is looking to get back to their Ukrainian roots and get some more Ukrainian talent on the team, or at least some more CIS talent, or if they're looking to add more NA, get rid of NA. I do think it's likely we see changes to this roster, but what those changes are, of course, remains to be seen for now. And then last but not least, for our top teams, we have Faze, and we are going to be touching on Faze more later in the episode. But we did hear at the end of the major, well, not later in the episode, I mean like very soon, but we did hear from Kerrigan that he doesn't want to change this roster. And that was a big statement. It also is kind of a smart statement from Kerrigan. I think he's gotten a lot of flack for managing this team and the roster swaps and stuff like that, with the narrative being that he's the one doing these things. And I think he wants to flip the narrative and be like, dude, I am not the manager. I am the IGL. I am consulted about the changes, but I'm not making the changes. Like he didn't want Rain off the team. Rain was moved to make space for something that a manager had a vision for. So he wants to keep this team the same. I think we keep this team the same for now. I mean, what upgrades do you get? Unless there's a budget, right? If we've got a budget, maybe something. And if a Frozen wants to leave for a different team, which there has been rumors about, then yeah, we need to make some changes and bring someone in. Honestly, if Frozen was leaving for Navi, like rumors have happened in the past, getting a JBA to replace him would have been awesome and probably very budget friendly compared to some other options. But we'll see. I think Faze is going to chill with this for now. Moving along, that kind of covers Rostermania. This is the very beginning. We are like 3 days into a month of Rostermania. This is just a preface, right? M80, bench, hexed. We got JBA rumors coming in. G2, wouldn't be surprised to see some changes. Faze, I think, are going to lock in Passion UA, I would expect changes to come as well. Now, let's hit the tournaments. First up, the Major, right? It's the biggest event of the year. Obviously, we have to talk Major. And it was fucking nuts. Faze in second place. How Faze comes in second place in the Major is beyond me. In fact, I think it's beyond that. I don't think they know how they got second place in the Major. It's just that Faze shit that they do, you know? And they didn't even have a particularly easy run, right? If you were going to watch a game to see Faze dominate, I would certainly watch the first one. They obliterated Mouse in the playoffs. 13-11 Nuke, 13-2 Inferno. That's absolutely ridiculous. Brokey putting on a show, Frozen putting on a show. This was a great game. This was an even better game, right? Faze Navi. Navi has been on a tear. Bit has been looking great. He didn't have the best performance this game, but he's been looking great. Kaze, wonderful. Everyone's been looking good. Once again, Twist just kind of puts on a show and really asserts himself. We cannot understate how threatening Twist is. He's such a good player. Jacob coming into his own, and then we get to the grand final against Vitality, and we kind of get stomped here, right? We do take a map, which is good, but this was kind of like an enough's enough statement from Vitality. They were like, okay, guys, that's enough of the bullshit run. We're putting our foot down, and they obliterated us pretty hard. Overpass and Dust were not pretty. We did great starting off on Nuke, which I'm glad about. And Inferno was all right, but it's Inferno. I feel like it always winds up kind of close on Inferno. So it was a pretty big stomp. Mezzy and Rops had an incredible game. Twist still looked pretty good, but where he struggled. And, you're just not going to have great numbers when it's such a one-sided performance from Vitality. Big picture, looking at this for FaZe Clan, I mean, you're happy, right? Even looking at the tweets of all the players, they're not even bummed. Like usually a team loses a major and it's like emo tweets. This is tough. Like we try so hard. This is unfortunate. We need to rework everything. The FaZe team lost and they were like, okay, like totally fine. You know what I mean? Like we didn't even expect to be here. They're in a rebuilding phase. Pun intended. Actually, it wasn't intended. I take it back. Unintended. They're in a rebuilding phase. This is a great performance from them. It's hard to say what it means, but if we were to focus on one thing, it would be Jacob. It would be that Jacob really came into his own here. He's looking sharper. We got to see what everybody else sees in Jacob during presumably during scrims in practice, and that's wonderful. I have high hopes for Jacob. I think he could really evolve into a flamesy type of entry fragger, which is really what a team with Frozen and Twist need. When you have two firepower players as deadly as Frozen and Twist, you give them a Jacob and a Kerrigan. You know what I mean? You give them some loose players who are willing to get dirty to make space for you. And that once I saw that strategy could work. You know what I mean? It could definitely work. So good major overall. I mean, how can we complain about the major for NA if an NA team, an NA org with an NA star is in the grand final? You know, it's so funny because you look at the forums and comments and stuff and Reddit, and everyone is just like, "LOL, NACS." They don't even realize that they're all getting shit on by NACS. You know what I mean? NA org, NA star, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It's a funny joke, and I laugh about it too. And NA players are ridiculous, but that ridiculousness can really work sometimes, and I love that. And yes, Faze has an EU core. Most of the team is European, but get over it. NA org, NA star, get shit on. You know what I'm saying? So we love it. Great performance from Twist. Great performance from Faze. They have been struggling. I hope they continue to grow, and that this wasn't just a fluke. Um, you got to have faith. I think with Faze, they are a faith-based team. You just got to believe. They've always got it in them. You just got to believe. So moving along, final tournament of the episode, right? Like I said, there's not a ton to cover. We got the Dust 2 US Eagle Master Series 5. All right. This has been going on along with the major, and it's going to conclude this Friday. These are great games if you're an NA viewer, which I assume you are. Try to catch these games. They're on at prime time for the most part, which is nice. They're not being hosted in EU like so many tournaments are. So we get to actually watch the games live a lot of the time. Voka and Skinrave. We were talking last time. Skinrave was in a little bit of trouble down in lower rec. I mean, very loosely, but I was like, they've got this. It's nothing. And they did get it. It was nothing. Qualified for the playoffs just fine. Taking out Pulse and Voka taking out what I believe Straight to Killing is this team's name. Straight to Kill In. Sorry. This is a huge grand final level fight here. Voka Skinrave. And once again, this is also the rivalry. I'm using that very loosely. They aren't rivals, but if we're making up plot lines, right? This Marky came from Voka. So we got some rivalry here facing off against your old teammates. I'm very excited for this. I'm a Boss fan. I love Boss. I think Slight and Fruit Cup and B. Willis recently. But Slight and Fruit Cup are two of my favorite up and coming NA players. I shout them out all the time. Check them out. Fruit Cup streams on Twitch all the time. He's a delight. Super nice dude. Great player. Highly recommend checking out Fruit Cup's content and rooting for Fruit Cup and the boys in this game taking place at 8 p.m. tonight. This is going to be a very good one. I think these playoffs are going to be a blast. I predict that Boss is going to take down Lag and take down Regain, putting them in the grand final, which is, if memory serves, and I'm just going off memory here, going to be the first grand final Boss has been in quite a while, at least that I can remember, in at least 6 months, maybe. So awesome. I'll be rooting for them all the way. I'll be watching this game live Friday for sure. Some of these I might miss because of work stuff, but I will be watching Friday, rooting for the boys. Who is going to get there on the other side? If I was going to predict, I would say Skinrave is going to get there. Voka, a little higher rank, but I think Skinrave has the fight in them. They have a good structure. They got a good thing going. Marky's opening has just been incredible for the team as well. And Walco has had some crazy lurk plays that we've watched. Just like super high impact stuff. Skinrave is a really well rounded and well structured team. It seems like everyone has a role and knows what they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing it quite well. The team's growing. I don't think they're anywhere near their potential. I'm going Skinrave here for a Boss Skinrave grand final, with Skinrave probably winning, but I'll be rooting for Boss. We are not going to do the normal segment that we do at the end of the episode, right? We've been doing the ever evolving and never existing NA super team of your dreams, maybe. Actually, you know what? I was just going to do an MVP this week, and I was going to name Twist the MVP. He deserves it. He is the MVP of the week for sure. But I actually am going to just plow through I just got an idea. We are going to kind of do this roster mania style, right? Not based on the week's performances, but maybe if we were just building an NA dream team for roster mania, right? So based off the performances this year, we're going to grab our MVP Twists as closer. We're going to grab Lake as opener. He's gotten it a couple times now. There's argument for a Liege for sure, but I'm going to take Lake. I'm a Lake fan. We're going to take, uh, who do we want our support? We're going to take JBA for support and Opper Slight, IGL. Let's grab Snav because I think he's very much been on the up, and that is going to be our NA super team of the week. I kind of just did that on a whim. That wasn't planned, but the MVP 100% Twist. Twist had an incredible week, putting up incredible ratings. He here I actually wrote this down somewhere. Yeah, Twist, Frozen, and Brokey all put up 1.1 to 1.14 ratings across the playoffs, including averaging in them getting stomped against Vitality. Great numbers. Twist has just been such a rock for NA and for any team he's been on. Nothing but good things to say about that guy. Huge fan. Um, big Twist fan. So for weeks ahead, we are entering the break. Most of what there is to cover right now and to keep an eye out for is roster changes. I might keep these kind of short and sporadic, and in the next ones, just cover roster changes a little bit and maybe work on some theory craft segments of what rosters maybe should be doing if we were to make the call. And yeah, that's about it. Maybe a little more sporadic with the episode releasing during this time. I'm also getting married in a few weeks to Cat Kiwi. So that is awesome. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. That was this episode. Keep the energy high, keep the scene alive. And as always, remember to stay safe and stay planted. Man, thank you, everybody. Sincerely, I really appreciate everyone who tunes in and supports. And we will see you on the server. GG's, y'all.